Could be a weird hand, taking a bit of a wild think on his play, and normal souls.
Ooh,
Probably.
that's not optimal.
Yeah, this is not good. Playing pure Eld, but I kind of doubt it. Pure Eld is not very common right now.
Not really the most popular choice. This doesn't mean that he drew his soul's target, which means that his hand isn't very optimal. However, he discarded both pieces of the Eldlich engine to his graveyard, which is pretty good because it just means that he loses absolutely nothing from souls not resolving, but it did in this case. Do you think it was correct to chain the Scarlet Sanguine in the graveyard just to tech thin and not draw into any more traps, potentially?
Yeah, I definitely think that's what you want to go for. But also, if he's playing synchro cards, you really don't want to draw your synchro cards right here.
That too, yeah. I mean, you could argue that the synchro cards would be a good draw for Fallout if he is playing them. However, still quite weird. He goes for the Elixir of White Destiny, so.
It was probably definitely a synchro deck. I don't think Pure really plays white. I don't think they would probably be setting it right here.
Do you think the reason he went for white is because he has a Lord in his hand, or is it because the last set is another Sanguine?
If it is a Sanguine, that's gonna be really rough. It's not any on much disruption. Hopefully he has a Lord in hand.
I mean, I think it's also safe to assume that he has 1 or 2 hand traps, you know?
Yeah. It definitely has your Princess in hand. Or possibly the Mana? Is that what it's called? The other Soul's target?
Yes. But I don't think you play that Soul's target unless you're playing Eldlich Invoked. Okay, so Honey starts with revealing an Emancipator Analyzer. That's a really good start for anyone that's playing an Emancipator. This applies so much pressure. We'll have to see if Jacob decides to, Joshua decides to use an interruption on this, like a Conquistador, for example. And although that might be turn ending, which is very doubtful to be honest, because Hani hasn't even used his normal summon yet. What is important to note is that if Joshua commits to activating something like White Destiny here, it just means that he doesn't have Nibiru, which makes Hani's job way easier.
So he did have the Lord in hand? That's really bad for him.
Yeah, that's really bad. So like, there is no way he has more than 1 hand trap. So honestly, there's a pretty good chance that Hani just kills him this turn, right?
Yeah, this is not a very good hand from the Eldlich player. One of the worst he can draw. But yeah, we'll see if Hani can play Druid. Rock does get some pretty bad hands.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that when you start with Analyzer, this isn't one of these bad hands, but it is possible.
Yeah, Rock plays so many normal summons, sometimes you just draw too many. Just get the Guardian.
He hits the Guardian, and he also hits the Dark Cooler No More, which means that
really interesting.
Main decking Dark Cooler No More. What are your thoughts on that?
That is crazy right now.
It feels pretty high rolly, risky, because like against combo decks other than Emancipator, they're usually summoning VFD. I mean, other than
the Buster Luck.
Or doing the Buster Luck, right? So it's not like Dark Ruler is like board stopping. You still have to deal with something.
Yeah, and if it's VFD, you just can't play Drew that.
That is true. So it's quite an interesting choice. We'll see if it pays out for him. Doesn't really do that much in this matchup. I mean, we don't know if Joshua is playing the Synchro cards yet, but if he is, that means Dark Cooler is slightly better, but I doubt that they're gonna stay in after siding.
Yeah, we'll see. It's not too bad versus Synchro Eldlich, because a lot of players have been dropping the heavy draw combos, opting for just ending on Herald and Savage. Having Dark Ruler against those is nice, but if they do go for the like 3 or 4 draws, Dark Ruler isn't doing enough.
Alright, so Hani summons Doki, and Joshua flips Conquistador of the Golden Land here. If he opts to pop for Doki, does that tell you that he has a hand trap So he wants Hani to use Analyzer and Guardian to make Firebracks for it to get hand trapped in the spot.
I would definitely expect him to have a hand trap. I think kind of regardless. It's just so unlikely he doesn't have it. I can't think of what other card would be in his hand.
A second Lord, which would be like super
second Lord,
unfortunate.
second Souls.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he doesn't have that. Oof.
Alright, it
Only has
doesn't.
a
It doesn't
block
really
dragon.
matter. It really doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Well, alright. So Hani elected to summon Block Dragon here, to keep the Guardian on his field, I assume, which is pretty okay for a play, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Normally you want to summon the block dragon later in the turn because of Nibiru. Because of the white destiny. There's no fear in Nibiru. Pretty safe from everything.
It's quite true. I think it would have been the same thing if he just held the block dragon, honestly, but I don't really think it matters a whole lot because, like, worst case, Hani has to play through the back row and then the one unknown card in hand. Like, we don't know for sure if Joshua opened the Souls target, but since he normal summoned Souls, I think it's like beyond fair to assume that he did.
Yeah, I would be really surprised if he isn't playing the Apprentice. Yeah, it could be Pure Eld. I know they sometimes opt to not play the Souls target, just play Souls as a normal summon.
Right, so he goes for Ash on the Halki Firebracks. So
I think Hani just lets that go. It's kind of weird
why would you let that go though? Because you know the last card that has Apprentice Illusion Magician. There is nothing else you're gonna Guardian, right? So like, might as well.
I don't know. I kind of think you just kill him without the Needle Fiber.
Oh yeah, you're killing him regardless. That's for sure. No matter what. This is beyond over. I think it's just a matter of time until Hani establishes a board and kills his opponent.
I think there's some cards that save him, some set cards, but we'll see if he plays them or not. Torrential can be really strong if Hani doesn't play
if
around.
I'm Hani, I would definitely try to unicorn away the set card as soon as possible.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to play into that.
Yeah.
You could still be playing Pure Eld, and Pure Eld plays some really strong floodgates.
That's true. However, like, if he is playing floodgates, wouldn't he have flipped them already by now?
Yeah, you would hope so. You could be waiting, saving it for a blowout.
Hani goes for Researcher here. And then goes for Seeker.
Yeah, so this is where Torrential would be really strong. But unfortunately, he doesn't seem to have it unless he's saving it.
I mean, I would understand the logic behind saving it here. There is no reason for you to do so. It's another Guardian. Not that it matters a whole lot, to be honest.
Yeah, there's not going to be many monster effects to negate. So the only thing you can negate is the Link Karibo, but I'm not sure how relevant that is.
I do feel like the most relevant thing about the Guardian is just the amount of attack points it has. There's literally nothing else that matters here.
Yeah, it's really big for level 4.
It's 19, bro. Trickstar can't out it.
Misses the second Excavate. Shouldn't matter too much.
Really shouldn't. You just summon Dragite here and you kill your opponent.
Yeah. Dragite or Access Code. If he plays it, should both end up.
That is true. Do you agree with playing Access Code in Rock?
I don't think I think Access Code is really good, but I just think all the cards you would cut for Access Code are better. The Adamancer extra deck is really tight. You don't really have any flex spots.
That sounds fair, yeah. Right, so he goes for Gigantes here, opting to summon Raptite with the Gigantes and the Researcher. That's reasonable.
Yeah, that's what you'd expect here.
Declares the effect of Raptite. Raptite is a very low chance of missing, to be honest, so Hani should be fine here.
Yeah.
Yep, there we
Multiple
go.
targets.
He hits 4 targets, I think.
And he reveals the Dragon Buster. That's really interesting.
So he's been taking both Dark Ruler and Dragon Buster. It's like he's playing Dark Ruler, but he's also playing the out to Dark Ruler. you think he's just being a bit too ahead or a bit too outdated, or is this correct for this event?
Yeah, I think he's just trying to be ahead of the curve. Because hand traps have been a pretty staple play for a while. Dark Ruler has really fallen off popularity.
However, like most Adamantipator lists that have been showing success lately mostly include no outs to Dark Ruler, other than like standbying Dweller and praying. So maybe that's why he opted to play it. We do see that his opponent opts to scoop here, so they are going to go into siding, and his opponent reveals that he did hard draw Apprentice Illusion Magician, which means that his last card in hand was a copy of that card, which is quite unfortunate, to be honest. Like, opening Souls plus Apprentice Illusion Magician is like what? Like a 12% chance, I think?
Yeah.
So very low.
Do all the cards you don't want to see. Drawing Lord going first is really not good.
That's one of the trade-offs you take when you opt to play something like Eldlich in general, right? You have a lot of cards that are good going first, but you also have a lot of cards that just don't do anything, absolutely anything in your hand when you go first.
Yeah, it's kind of weird in that aspect.
Right, so they will be signing here. Something common with most Eldlich decks is, like, regardless of what version they're playing, after game 1 they are going to sign into more trap cards, especially into something like Adamantipator, so we can expect stuff like Solemn Judgment, stuff like Floodgates such as Summon Limit. We'll have to wait and see what ends up happening, but I definitely would like to think that now that the Eldlich player knows the matchup and is gonna go first, I think he is slightly favored in game 2.
Yeah, hopefully he just draws a better hand. His hand game 1 was really unfortunate. Maybe we'll get to see if he plays synchro cards.
Let's see if he opens a better hand here. Alright, so he starts with Outland. That's already a better start than last time.
Yeah, definitely.
Goes for the P8. Let's see what he searches here. He searches Hakuro.
So he might have the souls again.
Might have souls.
He does. He gets to summon it this time.
Yeah, this time he didn't draw Apprentice Illusion Magician, which is really good for him. The souls is gonna be really powerful here. Hani is thinking on the souls. Does this mean Hani has something like Gamma? I don't think there can be anything else, right?
Yeah, I think Gamma is the only card like played that can respond to souls right here. Can't think of anything else.
If Gamma is your only hand trap, would you Gamma here?
I would expect him playing the Synchro deck. It was a bit risky, because if he does still have the Synchro play, it can be really scary.
I definitely agree with that. I think I would hold off the Gamma here, unless you have multiple hand traps, obviously.
Yeah, it's definitely rough, because the Souls draw too is really scary, but... And he does decide to Gamma.
He opts to Gamma.
Could possibly have a second hand trap. Synchro play.
I mean, you would like to think so, right? Like, it sounds pretty risky to go for Gamma at this point if you don't have another hand trap. Yep.
He does have the Jet Synchro.
Has the Jet Synchro, so he is playing Synchro Eldlich. Something interesting here. He could have just searched Golden Lord with the Eldland and just started with Jet Synchro instead of Souls, and that way, if Hani ends up hand trapping his Synchro engine, he can just summon Souls and go for draws from there on out, and then grind with his Eldlich engine. But we do see that he did hard Open Lord, which means that like his hand is insane this time. It's way better than the hand that he had game 1.
Yeah, if Hani does have another hand trap, this could be going really good. Oof, right. He did draw the Death Spot. That's rough.
I mean, that's a decent trade-off. Usually in like Synchro Eldlich and Adamantipator, honestly, most 5 cards have just this one mediocre card that really doesn't matter. And I think in this case it's the Death Spot 001 that Hani's opponent has.
Yeah, you play a lot of cards that just aren't good to draw.
Alright, so Hani is thinking on resolution here, which means that he might have an Ibiru. He does
That
have
is
Nibiru.
brutal.
Alright, so I definitely think I agree with Gamma and Souls here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
So this is not looking good for the Eldlich player anymore. Only card in
Not
hand is
anymore.
YuGiOh.
I mean, Hani's gonna have to play through a YuGiOh, which honestly does nothing against a deck like Adamantipator. Do you think in hindsight it might have been better to just search Conquistador?
I definitely think so, because I kind of think the reason you want to search YuGiOh so you don't run out of Conquistadors, so you don't want to go drill them too quickly. I think in a matchup like versus Rock, it just doesn't matter, because the game isn't gonna go log in a couple turns.
That sounds about right. Yeah. I mean, it's also not very common for your souls to get gammed. So, in fairness to Joshua, you couldn't really play around that, could you?
Yeah, you're not expecting that ever.
Something else though, from what I understand, is that Joshua is opting to go for souls and then sending the YuGiOh and the Eldland to get 2 draws. What he could have done alternatively is just search Conquistador, summon souls, use souls for 1 instead of 2, send the cursed Eldland to graveyard, and then use Eldland to dump another golden land, and that way he has access to a guaranteed access to both parts of the Eldlich engine instead of just one of them. But
Yeah, I think
it doesn't matter that much here because you can just go for YuGiOh and search Sanguine in the end phase.
Yeah, we'll see how strong Hani's hand is. Gamma and Nibiru is exactly what you want to open versus the Synchro deck, which is perfect.
Alright, so Hani doesn't really have to play through anything here. It's just a matter of whether his hand is good enough to force a combo and kill his opponent. Alright, he starts with Analyzer again. That's a pretty good start.
Yeah, that's always what you want to start with.
For sure. It's he's excavating here. Hasn't hit yet. Oh no. Is he missing? No, he hits the Guardian.
5th card.
There we go. Or he reveals Seeker. That's really good.
Oh, yeah, that's looking like a really solid hand. Can't ask for much better.
He hits the Doki. That's also like probably the best hit he could have had here. Yeah, I mean, there's just no way you lose this game now, right?
Yeah, I would think so. He has so much.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually just going to be super easy. Just summon Dragite, clear your opponent's board, and we just
scoops it up.
Joshua concedes. Looks like the game is over. So Hani does end up winning. Obviously, one of the things about 3v3 is that Hani winning doesn't necessarily mean that he has won the round because he is playing on behalf of his teammates. So we still have to wait and see how his teammates do. However, he has done his part of the job. 2-0 Synchro Eldlich, which I mean, generally speaking, is a favored matchup, especially because the Synchro Eldlich player couldn't really combo off either turns in both games, especially even though he went first. So quite unfortunate on that part, but game ended.
Yeah, that was a rough game for the Eldlich player.
Yep, it's definitely not ideal, but I don't think it's like it's not like something unexpected to lose to Rock. It's like a pretty hard matchup, honestly.
Yeah, but his hand game 1 was really unfortunate. It's about as bad as it gets.
Very true. Alright, so we're either going to come back for round 3 later on, or we are going to switch into another feature match in a bit for the same round, since we still do have a couple of time on the round.
Yeah, that was a fairly quick match, so hopefully we'll be able to get some more in.
Yep, it was quite straightforward, honestly, didn't take a lot. That's usually what ends up happening when you're playing something like Advanced Pater.
Yeah, it's a lot of hand checking.